Hello there, and a warm welcome around the bonfire. Today I'm joined by co-hosts Adam and Andy. We start the podcast talking a little bit about reading, and then we get into the concept of polyamorous relationships versus monogamous ones, and our views on the different types of relationships and the morality behind them. Hope you enjoy.
If you want to finish anything, and because this is how I am, but if you want to finish anything, you just have to admit that you're a slow reader and the reading's not for you, and you just get an audiobook and you listen to it that way. I finished 2 books already just because I've bought the audiobook in like a week. So
yeah,
that's
actually been my answer.
Yeah.
For the most part, I mostly do audiobooks, and I love it because I do get through them like a lot quicker.
But do you do something else while you listen to them, or do you just solely listen to them?
I do something that takes minimal concentration. Like I'll play Doom, or sometimes I'll just sit and listen.
Yeah.
But I don't code while I listen to audiobooks.
Yeah. Yeah. Same here. I got through a lot of audiobooks when I was just driving for like Domino's or something.
Oh yeah, that works too.
That was my favorite thing ever. It's just I'm at work and I'm learning something.
I found a free Rich Dad Poor Dad audiobook on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
See, I don't know if it's as exciting as the audiobook that Andy has, but it's
probably the same. I mean,
it is free, so.
Yeah, can you send me a link to that to the bonfire?
Oh yeah, of course.
But that's a good point, Andy. If I'll keep beating my head against the wall with this real book, I guess I would like to be better at like reading. I don't know.
Well, do you have a reason why?
Because not everything's audiobook. Sometimes audiobooks can be more expensive, and sometimes I'm just given a book like you gave to me, and like, you gave me the design patterns. I was like reading through some of that, but it's also like slow going, and also like the school, like I'm in school right now and I have to read, and it's like, man, I'm just so slow. I hate it.
That's true.
I feel like if I keep trying, I could be better, but I guess it has been like 24 years of being a slow reader.
It's probably different in school. I don't know about doing audiobooks in school, but once you're out of school, I think you can get by with all audiobooks. Because once you're out of school, I guess the assumption is you're working, so you can pay for audiobooks. And the readings that I do are very short. It's like go to Wikipedia, read for 30 seconds, and that's it.
Yeah, I see.
Read a whole novel. But do whatever works for you. I mean, you have to figure it out.
Yeah, true. I mean, I feel like currently at my current point in life, I feel like my focus ability has just decreased a lot, and it's something I don't like, something I want to improve. I think it's probably just decreased out of like times when I'm bored and I just go to like YouTube and kind of consume mindless things. Like I can be a mindless consumer. I will admit that to you guys. And it's kind of hard to admit to you guys because like I know you guys don't like to be that too much. Like you guys are normally trying to produce and stuff. But yeah, like I can be a mindless consumer, and I think that it decreases my ability to focus sometimes because I think I'm becoming aware of that part of me that wants that instant gratification that a lot of current services provide. And yeah, that's just something I'm aware of, and I want to become better at just focusing on things because I think it's just a lot more rewarding to focus on maybe like a full book and then learn more. I don't know. Just my theory.
That's wait, that's a theory?
Well, my theory is that it's more rewarding to consume, or something that you invest more time into, like learning or like consuming, is more rewarding in the end. Maybe you like actually gain knowledge from it that's valuable.
Yeah, rewarding in the sense of you're absorbing more knowledge. That's what the reward is?
I guess so.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I don't know. I told Adam this. It's like, just do whatever you got to do so that you at least get anything. For me, it's like, I don't want to read books anymore because I get almost like nothing. And I'm always saying, I hate reading. It's slow. So I'm just not going to read. And you end up with nothing, not gaining any knowledge. So even if you do an audiobook or whatever, and you're absorbing like half the knowledge, that's still better. In my opinion, that's still, I'll say it's more reward than not doing anything.
Well, yeah. No, so what I'm saying too is an audiobook fits, like an audiobook is a good thing, but what is not a good thing is like 5-minute YouTube video that's talking about something that has no value to my life.
Yeah, okay. Then I think that's a discussion on catharsis. Well, for me, that's how I think of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm sure you could disagree with me on that. Like Adam might. But, I mean, I don't know. I think you get a pass because you're still in school and you haven't really like found like a job to just settle into or a career to settle into. So it's still kind of open-ended.
Yeah.
And I think that makes it hard to focus.
Yeah, that's a good point. Once I finished school, I started reading so much more.
Oh.
The other thing I wanted to say about reading is like, the way I kind of think about it is reading is a muscle just like anything else, I guess. I don't know, maybe that's like a cliche to hear or stereotypical.
Like a skill.
But reading actually engages a very, very like crucial part of your brain. And so if you don't read often, you're not going to like it at first and it's not going to be fun. But one thing that I've noticed is literally since I finished school, so I graduated in December 2018, since I've finished, I've been reading like book after book after book since winter of 2019. So like January, February-ish, maybe March, I don't know. So in the time of all of 2019 and then half of this year, I have read 14 books in about a year and a half. And
yeah,
I've noticed that every time I read, like it gets like my comprehension is going up, the speed at which I read is increasing, and like I've noticed just within the short amount of time, just by like reading nonstop, I've just improved as a reader. Because I used to say the same thing, like when I was really little, I was into like Harry Potter and The Lord of the Rings and maybe a couple other books. So like I would read those, but that stopped in like 7th grade. I think 7th grade was the last time I read a book for fun. And then, 8th grade and then all of high school got busy, and then college got busier as far as school goes. And so, when you're assigned all of this reading on top of your homework already, you're like all the reading for pleasure that you do could be spent for reading towards homework. So I always chose to read my school books, and then I never had time left over to read anything I enjoyed. That is until I graduated college, and I was like, wow, I'm not being assigned all this reading for homework all the time anymore. I get to read whatever I want. And I thought that I wasn't a reader and that I like didn't enjoy reading just because of school. But I figured out once I started picking up books that I was interested in instead of like what school was assigning me. I was more engaged and more focused, and my reading just got better. I ended up from April 26th to like July 13th or something. I ended up reading the entire Bible. Like the whole thing in under 12
that was
weeks.
Crazy. Yeah.
And that is like a monstrosity of reading. Like I feel like I could conquer any book after reading the entire, like from cover to cover. I read the entire Bible. So I feel like, and that I did that just after like reading nonstop for like less than a year, or maybe about a year. So I would say after about a year of reading nonstop, I was able to read the whole entire Bible cover to cover in 11 weeks and 3 days.
Jeez.
So it's, even though it's, and like that's not because I'm not special or anything, that like I'm not smarter than you guys at all by any means, and that's just because that's what happens when if you start reading just a little bit each day, you'll naturally develop like the quote unquote muscles, so to speak, to read and comprehend, and your focus goes up, your engagement goes up, your comprehension goes up. And that's just like I literally did nothing except do it. Like I didn't practice anything beforehand, or I didn't try any like secret cheat code, or I just committed to reading a little bit each day, and then it just slowly improved over time. And I think the same could happen for both of you guys. Like if you just start reading a little bit each day, you'd be surprised how quickly like your comprehension and your speed and all those other things I said will go up.
And it's honestly like that kind of story that does inspire me. And it's like, I don't know, Andy got me that book, and it happens to not be an audiobook. There's this thing in me that's like, I don't want to feel like I rely on having an audiobook. Like if someone gives me a book, I like to just be able to like read through it and actually do it somewhat fast, like do it in a timely manner. I guess that doesn't really matter, but I feel like if you read through something like way too slowly, then like, I don't know, there's like a time interval of like really learning it that maybe you're missing out on. Like if you can read like a substantial amount each day or every other day, like that would probably be better. And that's is what I would like. But I want to ask you, how do you feel that like reading contributes in your life as opposed to consuming information in other ways?
Ooh, I like that question. That's a good question. Because here's the thing, and I think this is something that question kind of starts to go down the path of, is the whole idea of like, there's a technical term for this concept that I'm trying to think of. I can't think of it, but it's this whole idea of like the negative side of like self-help books, but you could think of it as like the negative side of just like any books you read just for the sole purpose of like either gaining knowledge or wisdom or becoming a better person. But I'm just gonna stick to like where I first heard it from, but it was talking about self-help books in particular, and saying how there's a certain point where like reading more kind of negatively impacts you because you spend all this time reading but not taking what you've learned from the books you've read and then applying it to your life. And then you feel accomplished because finishing a book feels really, really, really good. Like we get the same amount of dopamine hit from accomplishing a book that we do, like, from running long distances or like hiking to the top of a mountain, or like those, the feeling you get whenever you accomplish something and it feels good to accomplish it. That the same dopamine rush happens when we finish books too. And so because of that, we feel that we do a good thing every time we read a book, but we don't actually do anything with it. And so that's why, like, you could only read so many books in order for it to be beneficial, especially if it's like a self-help book. And that's because one, it becomes like a cycle of us reading books but not doing anything. But two, we forget about like 80%. I forgot the actual statistic, but it's somewhere around like we forget 80% of what we read within like a week after finishing it, or like 3 days. It was like something crazy, like 3 days. Well, maybe I'm confusing it with another statistic, because I heard somewhere that you forget 80% of a piece of information 3 days after you first learn about it, or something. I can't remember.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe that was something. If you watch something informational, you forget 80% of it after 3 days, something like that. But books have a similar thing where you forget a huge majority of it pretty soon after finishing it. That's why, like, you feel like you're accomplishing things, or like people who get stuck in the self-help cycle, they feel like they're accomplishing things because they're reading and completing all these books. But then they don't do anything with the information they learn, and they forget 80% of it soon afterwards, and nothing's actually like their life isn't actually changing. And so I guess there's times like that where I feel like, even though I read the book, like, of course I feel accomplished, but I wouldn't say it isn't until I start like applying things that I learned from that book, that I guess they're worth it, which, sometimes I am able to, sometimes I don't. But I always feel that reading a book and forgetting most of it is better than never having read that book at all. Because you never know what you're going to learn, and you never know what's going to personally stick with you. And like after I finished the Bible, the next book I read after that is called The 5 Love Languages.
Yeah.
And like that's given me insight into my relationship with Sophia too. And so like little stuff like that, like it's not like I'm a master of the 5 love languages concept right now, but I learned like the 20% of the book that did stick with me, like are things that I do apply to my relationship, or that I'm able to apply in the future, kind of stuff that I'm like aware of. And so I would say the books I've read have impacted my life enough for them to matter that I've read them.
Yeah.
I still haven't read a book where I was like, oh man, that was a complete waste of my time. Like, there isn't a book that I read that I regret.
Yeah. Okay. Wait, Andy, did you mute yourself?
Yeah,
Oh.
am I muted right now?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought I muted you. And then I'm like, wait, why is he muted? I was worried about that. Okay, Adam. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like the retention and everything. And yeah, I'm just thinking. I do believe that it would be a useful thing to be better at that, engaged more in it, and spend more time with that. I feel like I was getting somewhere about like, is one form of, the way you get your information better than another? I feel like
I see.
I've thought about that in the past, and I feel like it doesn't actually matter, but like it just matters like how focused you are and like what the value of the information being said is. Like if you get it from a documentary or you get it from a book, probably wouldn't matter either way. But I guess I would just like to have a better ability at receiving the information from books rather than relying on other things.
Yeah, well, I did do some research on that a while ago, and I think that what they had found was that you do learn better from books than from watching something, and it had something to do with like when you watch something, the information that you get, you like hear it, but when you read something, because your brain is in the act of reading, and how like the process, it had something to do with how like language is involved and how our brain like translates symbols that we read into language and language that we understand, and like our brain learns information, and because there's like that more complex process, our brain has to like work to like learn that information so you remember it better or something. Whereas like if you just watch something, it's just kind of handed to you and you hear it from the video or whatever, and then but don't, because your brain didn't go through that process of like transmitting symbols on a page in a book to like knowledge in your brain, like it doesn't stick as easily or something. I can't remember, but it was something to do with that.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think I'll just say my partner, that, yeah, it's like reading is like an active thing, and watching anything is more of a passive thing. It's like something that happens to you.
Yeah.
But then she kind of rebutted, like, if you're really engaged with something you're watching, it might be more of an active experience. I don't know. Yeah, I still kind of feel like, yeah, it's more active when you're reading. It's like more decisive, like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to extract this information.
That's why people prefer movies to books. Like, I feel like we all know deep down that books are, like, if I was talking about physical exercise and I had to say, like, what's closer, in your opinion, to physical exercise, reading a book or watching a movie? And I bet you like 85% of the population would say, oh, reading a book is closer to physical exercise than watching a movie. And I think that's just because we know deep down, like, reading takes more work. Like, it feels like more work. Like, reading, even, like, we all know that reading takes more work than a movie, which is why there are more people who just rather sit and watch a movie than read the book.
Yeah.
And so
true.
I think just that little piece of insight right there kind of shows you, or should show anyone, like, reading engages you more on like being an active activity than movies do, regardless, or like whether or not watching a movie is an active or a passive thing. Like, I think we'd all agree that reading a book is more active than watching a movie.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, what do you think, Andy? Because I remember, because you were kind of saying more that it.
What's the question?
Just about like, basically just what Adam was just saying about.
Yeah, what was the question though?
How would you form that in a question, Adam?
What is your take on the sentence, books are more of an active pastime than watching a movie?
Well, I would probably agree with that, but I don't think it's a good thing necessarily. I think it takes more time and takes more focus, which is why I don't prefer it. So I'd rather listen to something.
I see. So do you feel that there's not some kind of drawback then?
Oh, yeah, there's definitely drawback, but it's faster. So I'd rather go the more efficient, whatever's more efficient.
Well, how do you feel about your retention of things you learn via other methods than reading? Like, is your retention 100%?
With reading?
With like consuming like an audiobook or maybe however else you might get the information.
Well, to me, I think the best source of information is doing hands-on work in that area.
Okay. Ooh, yeah, I agree with that. The best way to learn something is to go out and actually do it. That's the best way to consume knowledge.
Yeah. So because like reading is already not that, that's why I don't look at reading as a effective way to do that, or efficient way of doing that.
Okay. Have you ever like wanted to be able to read faster?
Not recently.
Okay.
Have you, Logan?
It's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to be able to read faster. And
I don't know about
kind of consume more of that.
Faster. That one's something about that. It's kind of weird. It's like, to me, when you say reading fast, it's like rushing through a book. But I don't think that's what you mean. But I feel like that's where,
like, reading faster while retaining the same amount of comprehension or more comprehension.
Well,
I guess, yeah. Like, what's that, Andy?
Oh, in my case, I'm happy with the speed I read, because I've never really thought I've needed to read faster because I absorb the amount of information I need. But I do like a lot of highlighting when I do physical reading, which isn't really often anymore.
Yeah,
it's hard to say.
By that, I kind of just mean more like I wish I could just pick up a book and read and not get so distracted in my mind. I think that's the real problem. That just bothers me, and it makes me feel like I'm missing out on something that other people like you are able to not have as much of a problem with. It's like it's like meditation, and I don't know, maybe I just haven't meditated in too long or something, but it's like having to focus on this thing that I'm reading. Like when I'm not super interested, which is always at the beginning of a book, at the beginning of any book, I'm really not that interested because I don't really know what there is to it yet. And that's just how it goes with me. So like during that time, I'm usually like mentally very distracted, just thinking about other things that I might rather be doing, or like other things I need to get done right now. Stuff like that.
I actually have, because do you ever experience like the situation where you'll be reading and as your like your eyes and your like brain is actively reading, your mind kind of wanders off and starts thinking about other things, and then you get to the bottom of the page and you're like, oh dang it, I was thinking about something else and now I have to go back and reread, like go back to the previous page and start all over?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
That like happens too much.
Yeah, that happens to me too. That happens to everyone. That's a very normal situation to be in. And I read something that was saying the thing that stops people from reading, like one of the biggest things that stops people from reading is that specific situation that happens to everyone. That happens to everyone. All of us do that. And he said the best way to get over that is don't flip back to the previous page. Don't start over, because it's the act of like having to restart that kind of throws us off and like deters us from reading. But the guy in this article that I was reading was saying, like, there's a certain like flow. I guess this kind of goes back to episode 1 of our podcast, but there's a certain flow state you get in when you read. And we tend to reach a point while we're reading, and it usually occurs within like 20 minutes in to like the first hour and a half before we start kind of losing it. And so and that's where we are the most engaged, most focused, retain the most information, yada yada yada, while we're reading. And so he was saying, by like when that happens and you get to the bottom of the page and you're like, oh shoot, I wasn't paying attention to what I just read, and then now I have to go back and then reread it all again, and then you reread it and you're like, oh my gosh, it happened again. I've read this whole entire page twice and still didn't learn anything. And that like process stresses us out, and then we lose that flow state, and then it becomes hard to get back in, and then just reading just becomes a stressful situation, and we get mad at the book, then we get mad at ourselves, and we're like, oh, I hate reading, this sucks. And so what he was saying, and this totally worked for me too, like I noticed I don't do it as much anymore, but what the thing to do to fix it is when you hit that point that you realize, oh my gosh, I spaced out, I just read 3 pages and I had no idea what's going on, don't go back. Like whatever you do, don't flip back, don't go and find where you left off, just don't do anything to try to undo what just happened. Continue reading, just being mindful that you spaced out for a second, but then be like, okay, it's okay, I'm just going to keep continuing and read. And the reason that there's a couple reasons for this. Reason number 1 is our brains are really good at piecing together information even when we don't know the full thing. And so things that will happen to someone who doesn't know this will be like, oh, I need to go back, because if I don't go back, I might have missed something. And if I miss something important, I'm going to be confused about what I'm reading. The fact of the matter is our brains are really, really good at piecing together information. Even if some of it is omitted, we're good at inductive reasoning. Not all the time, and only to a certain extent, but good enough to where spacing out during a page, 2 or 3 pages isn't going to affect us that much. And so when you reach the point where you're like, oh man, I just spaced out, keep reading, and you probably didn't miss enough for your brain to be confused about what you're reading, and you're still able to move on and comprehend what the main idea is, whether it's nonfiction or fiction. If you just keep on reading, you'll be able to kind of like understand what's going on. And then the other reason was like not interrupting our like forward momentum, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that, like, in reading.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I just keep going back in time and I'm getting nowhere.
Right.
And I think it's kind of demoralizing. Like, I'm just wasting so much time. I'd rather just, maybe that's why I always end up going to find another way to get the information.
Yeah. And so the saying the right way to do it is kind of pretentious. I'm not going to say like the right way to do it, but I guess a better way to do it is read on and then read through your spacing out. Don't stop, don't go back, just keep moving forward in your reading, and then just adopt the mindset like, okay, like I'm aware that I spaced out and that's okay. That happens. I'm going to keep reading these next couple pages and hopefully that doesn't happen. And if it does, then you just keep reading and keep reading. But by forcing yourself to keep moving on, your brain will realize like, oh man, I'm only reading this once, so I better pay attention the first time around. And your brain will have an easier time like maintaining focus after continuing to do that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thanks for that. I think I'm going to apply that.
Yeah. And no matter how badly you're like, no, I want to go back and read, like, don't do it. Just keep moving forward.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. And you would apply that to like maybe a textbook too? Because I'm taking this like computer architecture class, and I've got to like read through the textbook, and it's like super. I feel like when I read textbooks about computer stuff, it's just super technical, super detailed, and it's like if I miss one detail, I'm gonna miss something big.
Yeah. No. The third thing is, I forgot to say like a third reason why you just keep reading. Because back to the whole like your brain wants to tell yourself, but what if you miss something? What if you miss something, Logan? Go back and read because you might have missed something. Ignore that little voice in your head, because the other thing is, even though you might not have consciously, and this is one that I'm not going to say is like a 100% another reason, because I don't know like how much of it is like believable or not. But another thing was, he was saying how like even though you weren't consciously aware of what you had just read, you still read it, and so the information is still in your brain, and so like subconsciously, like you might be aware of it like later, or something to do with like even though you kind of spaced out during that time, you still read it, so it's still in your brain somewhere, or at least that you've been exposed to it.
Yeah,
something to do with that, to that effect. But yeah,
okay.
You want to trick yourself into thinking to go back and read just in case you've missed something, but
yeah,
in the long run, it helps if you just keep reading, and like, and the whole point is to not punish yourself when you notice that you spaced out, because it's actually the act of like getting mad at yourself and stressing out, like that makes reading harder and throws you off. But the point is to just like, you want to reach that flow state of reading. And I think they say that's like when your brain goes into like alpha waves. It's like that heightened state of learning.
Okay.
But yeah. So don't get stressed out when you space out. Just keep trying to read.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, well, dang. So I think Andy we were just talking about that book, and then we got into that whole thing. That was good, though, yeah. Definitely gonna use that once I get that book back.
Yeah, just try it.
I'm just gonna add. Could I add something?
Yeah, add something.
If you want to get an audiobook and just throw away my book, I don't even care. Like,
oh, okay.
if that's stopping you from doing that, don't let it stop you.
Yeah, no, it won't stop me. I will read the book. I will get the information some way or another.
Yeah, I'm saying not to read the book, or if that's what works for you, then do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was saying, like, if I'm gonna not read it, then I will get the audiobook. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And then give the physical book to Adam or something.
Yeah, okay.
It. Oh, you? Okay.
Well, what else has been on your guys' minds? Do you want to hit one of the topics we've written, or anything else come up for either of you?
Wait, what? I feel like one of your questions was I forgot who said it, but was one of your questions like, is it possible to date multiple people or something?
Oh yeah.
Who first asked that?
That's probably something I would say.
I don't remember saying that, so maybe
it was
Andy.
Maybe.
Was that even on the? Oh, I don't even know if that was. Oh, is that in? Am I muted? I don't know. Oh, okay.
No,
I hear you.
Muted. I hear you. No, it's not one of the topic ideas, but it was something you had brought up, Andy, and we were like, oh, that would be a good topic discussion on the podcast.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And I can't remember what the conversation revolved around.
I'd be down to argue that one though.
Sure. So, what's your claim, Andy?
Okay. My claim is that it is possible. What, to date or to what? What are we saying is the act?
What was it, Adam? Well, yeah, Adam, like date or marry or just like...
I think it was date. I don't know. I can't remember. I was hoping Andy would remember. I just know that...
Well, I could talk on this without even... Yeah, I mean, we don't need an exact wording of it.
Right.
Yeah. Word it however you will.
Yeah. Let's limit it to... well, what do you guys think? We could limit it to being intimate with multiple partners, or being in like whatever kind of relationship, like a dedicated relationship. What do you think is the scope? Yeah, or exclusivity. What's like the scope that, I guess, which one of those riles you up the most?
Yeah. Well, let's say, okay, for the scope of this conversation, maybe polyamorous relationship. So not yet marriage, but maybe a relationship where people agree to be in a polyamorous relationship.
People agreeing to, be in a, okay, and then the kind of prompt that we're trying to solve would be, is it possible? Is it moral?
Yeah. Sure.
But what? Is it possible?
Both.
Okay, is it possible? All right, let's let Adam ask that.
Did you say let's let Adam answer that?
Oh, no, ask that. Sorry. Like, how would you word this question so that Andy could answer it?
Well, I just want to hear any and all of Andy's thoughts on the topic. I don't really have a specific question.
Okay.
The questions will come after he starts talking.
Okay. Sure. Well, let me just preface this by saying I haven't actually done polygamy or polyamorous, any of that. So like I'm not, by no means a professional or an expert. So I'm just kind of speaking from the hip. But yeah, I'll speak from the hip if you want to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just see your
I
subjective.
just want to see what you had to say.
So I believe like it's like a team. Like I believe in whatever polyamory. Like I think in theory that's healthy, and that's maybe not healthy, but that's something that people shouldn't be afraid to entertain. I think it's hard for sure. Like it's not something that you're used to seeing. That's why I think it's hard. But I do think if you can get it right and everybody agrees to get it right, then that comes with a lot of benefits that you wouldn't get if you didn't try it.
What would those benefits be?
Okay, so well, if you think about, let's just say marriage, right? You pick one person and you're committed to them for the rest of your life, or at least for a long time, because you could divorce and then that doesn't really count. I'm saying like, well, let's just say, what did they say? It's like till death do us part.
Yeah.
See, that's not even accurate because when, divorce, you throw that into it, death doesn't do you part. But whatever, whenever that ends is what I'm saying. It's a long time for a lot of people. But you pick one person and like, how likely is that one person going to give you everything you need for the rest of your life or for the rest of your tenure with them? Does that make sense?
Right.
That's a huge commitment that I think a lot of people just aren't trained to do. So, and then you go in long enough and you're like, well, I don't want to, because then there's external factors where it's, I don't want to leave them because of like the kids or because of what society's going to think of them. And to me, that's not the right kind of thinking, because you're not really thinking about yourself or them. It's like there are all these external things that are making you do stuff that you internally don't want to do. So it's just, I think that's kind of where things go wrong for a lot of people. But if you throw, let's say, just like polyamory into that, then you still get to commit to someone. I think I don't really know exactly the terms of polyamory, but I think you still get the commitment, but you also still get to kind of pick and choose different pieces and different aspects of the different relationships that you allow, which ends up kind of making you just more, I don't know, I guess satisfied. I don't want to say satisfied, but more like pacified, in that you're not just gonna explode and be like, I don't have everything I need to succeed. Is that making sense?
I think it's making sense.
Okay. And again, I really want to like stress, because I don't know if people are going to hear this part, but yeah, I mean, like I haven't done polyamory, so this is all just theory in my head. But to me, it makes sense. And from the kind of sources that I'm looking at, it seems like this is the thing that makes the most sense. And that's the one that's like the most effective. Well, set up to be the most effective in theory, I guess. But I'm going to stop there because I want to give you guys a chance to, I want to hear you guys like argue me. I'm expecting the,
yeah.
you guys.
Oh,
well,
I don't want it to be like an argument. Like
okay,
I'm
well,
not,
yeah, you know what I mean.
like
just
I
a
don't.
debate, like
I'll fight and debate against other people, but
Yeah, for sure.
like,
well, we need some
you,
civil
I
discourse
just
here,
want to.
man.
We do need some civil discourse here, and that's what this
Yeah.
podcast is about. But I'm
Yeah,
saying,
so like
I'm not gonna it's not gonna be a fight. It's just gonna be expressing
All
thought.
right, well, okay, sure.
yeah.
I like for you to guys get expressive, because here's the thing. I don't know, like a year ago, I probably wouldn't believe these things. So it's part of me is like, I see both sides and I want to hear. It's like we need to have a devil's advocate in here. And
right,
I like it better when the devil's advocate is like passionate about, they're really getting into it. So, but yeah, if you guys want to be civil, and that's good too.
Yeah. Well, I was just told that in this podcast we could afford to have a little bit more arguments, not in an angry way, but just more like not just agreeing with each other all the time.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Right,
I was told that was, and I think that's kind of right. Like we should be able to, disagree and explain why and so forth.
Yeah, be a good model citizen on like how to actually have a civil debate on something without it just shouting names at each other and disregarding what the other has to say. Anyway, so Logan, I'll give you that civil discourse. Like I was
right.
going to, but I meant like I wasn't gonna like argue with you in a nasty way or anything. But yeah, Logan, what you can go next.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I guess I have things in my mind. I guess first off is like, Andy, a lot of your claims are just super logical. And I think that's something to consider for sure. But I think a lot of my responses are more emotional, which is why this is a hard topic to really objectively debate on, because I guess I've considered it a lot in the past. Just I've never actually considered doing it. I'm just saying, like, this concept has been in my mind, like, played out a lot of times, and I always concluded like that's not for me. I even at first think I may have thought it was morally wrong, but I don't know if I could say it's morally wrong right now. But yeah, I don't think it's for me. And I think it's more for emotional reasons though. Like, yeah, you're kind of describing it as like this logical like team that can work together and like maybe like to get through life, because life is a hard thing. So like, why not have a team or something? Is that kind of like your thought?
No, not. I'm sure in a way, yeah, but I'm not really. I think you're taking something I said a couple weeks ago, and yeah, I think that's also true. But what I'm saying now, I'm not really focusing too much on the team part of it.
Oh,
wait, are you saying a team of like, 3 guys, 3 girls, they're all going at each other? That's your like squad of polygamy, polyamory?
No, I actually thought that's what you were talking. Well, not in that form, but when you were just explaining your claim, I thought you mentioned the word team at some point. Like maybe it could be 2 females and 1 male, or like at least 3. So 2 males, 1 female, or something. Like, maybe I thought that your claim was more that if you have like, you don't have to necessarily just have 2 people to like accomplish.
Okay. Well, I don't want to commit to saying anything, but sure, I'll agree with that for now.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So I guess I'll just say that, yeah, polyamory is not for me. And just to differentiate if it's confusing at all, I believe, from what I've heard, polyamory is more just when it's just like a relationship, and polygamy is when it's like actually marriage.
Okay, so you can have.
Yeah.
Well, can you be practicing polyamory while you're married? Is that a fair?
I think that would.
No, I think that's when it becomes polygamy.
Okay, well then, what do we call? What's like the hypernym for just having multiple partners?
I think polyamory is the. Yeah, no, I think you're right, Andy.
Okay.
So like, polyamory is the general hypernym, and polygamy is when it becomes marriage.
Okay, well let's not focus on marriage. Let's just, can we do that? Can we just look at polyamory across? Okay.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
But
most people who practice polyamory anyway don't get married, so that it makes sense to not to exclude marriage for this portion.
Yeah. I guess I have a pretty limited scope on the world as only being one person. I've only ever been in monoamorous relationships.
Monoamorous?
And I don't know if that's the word, but if monogamous means married, so monoamorous mean. Anyway, I've only ever had that, so I feel like in a more emotional way that if someone else were to enter the equation right now, it would just be very problematic emotionally, like to people involved. Like there'd be a whole lot of push and pull between, like, let's say it was just 3 people. It'd be a lot of like push and pull, like over if it was to span like a long period of time.
What's do you have an example? Should I let you? I don't know if you guys want to do like one person talks for a long time and then questions later.
No, you can interject.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like that. Yeah, I don't mind that.
I don't want to interrupt your flow, but yeah. What kind of pushing and pulling? Do you have an example, or can you like summarize what that looks like?
For me, it would just be like emotional. Like, let's say, there was another guy in my relationship or something, and like maybe I would see my partner like hanging out with him more alone, and then I would feel like jealous, and I think that would be kind of like a natural feeling. Like, I don't know. I think that would be like one example of push and pull.
Okay. So what if?
And then at that point, like, why? At that point, why wouldn't Logan just leave for someone else?
Okay, yeah.
Who doesn't make him jealous, and then, like, Shane and the other guy could just remain to themselves. Oh, Thomas, I mean.
That's true. Oh no, yeah.
You could scramble that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a curse word or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, bleep me out. Bleep me out.
That's funny. So funny. I didn't even notice it, and Andy noticed it, and I'm like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's funny. But yeah, that makes sense, because that's like, I guess I know deep in my heart I only want to commit to one person, but that might be why there's that push and pull that I'm imagining.
Okay, if you were to see them spending, are you saying them spending more time with another person?
Yeah, like for like in that example, it's like I might start getting jealous if I just see that they're spending like more exclusive time together, and it's like, well, why am I even here? Like, I guess it does feel like it's unnatural too. Like that jealousy would be the result of the situation not feeling natural. Like, yeah, I shouldn't have to feel this way. Like, it should just be like 2 people. That's the way it's like it's meant to be.
Yeah.
But meant to be is not necessarily objective, because you might have disagreements on the meaning of this life and how things are meant to be. Like you could also say there is no meaning, and that it just is this way. Like there are males and females, and you can go about it however you want.
True.
But yeah, in my personal belief. I really don't think I'm cut out to be in a polyamorous relationship at all.
All right. Do you think ever, or like always?
To be honest, let's say, okay, so I guess I feel pretty strongly about it. Like I have kind of a knee-jerk reaction to this even being brought up. I remember in my previous relationship being a lot more emotionally engaged when this was brought up, but now I'm like not. I'm more just like, I guess it's not real to me right now, so I'm just kind of commenting on it. But yeah, in my previous relationship, I remember like that being, I don't think it was even discussed, but in my mind it was like, wow, she might actually want to do that at some point. I would be vehemently against it. I would be so strongly against it because I would think, at least in that example, it would be her trying to get, like, have her cake and eat it too, or something, like trying to get everything, and it's just not naturally going to work out. Like if she wanted to be with this other guy and I actually agreed to that, I feel like I would be kind of decreasing my manhood or something and just kind of letting somebody walk all over me. But that is also just because I'm so strongly against it for like emotional reasons. Like I would think I would probably just end up feeling strong jealousy over the fact that she wants to include this third person in our thing that is meant to be exclusively two people. And that's all I signed up for too. Like that was if there's a contract, that is the contract, and I am not willing to append to that contract a third person at all.
Okay.
But yeah, so your question though was, would you ever consider it, like later, like always? Yeah. Is it always the way I'm going to be? And I'd like to think that if like a weird situation were to arise, in the time I would always try to give it my best thought. Like I would try to always be like open-minded, but I would say with pretty strong confidence that I will always make the same decision. Like, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I will always give it the benefit of the doubt. I'll always weigh my options, but like if that option were to arise, I'm pretty sure I would say no.
Okay. That's fair enough.
But yeah, I mean, I guess you can't know always like what will I decide 60 years from now? I don't know if this would even be relevant at that time, but like you might have such a different perspective on life, but it's one thing that I'm pretty confident about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough for you. You know what you want, and I think you know what you want, but
yeah,
that's good because you'll find that. I mean, I think you'll find that.
So
that's knowing what you want, as long as it's something you can get, then that's good. Well, even never mind. But okay.
And just one thing I just wanted to say is like I did not argue that it is morally wrong.
I
only argued that that's not for me, and I think that's man, I would like to be able to make a strong argument that it's morally wrong.
Okay.
But I can't right now, and I would like to see if Adam has any input on that.
Well, actually, Adam asked a question. I don't know if you answered it.
Oh.
So he asked something like, would you consider leaving the relationship if that were to happen?
Oh.
Like, is that an option you think about?
Well, my question is, like, Logan was trying to kind of give you the benefit of the doubt and be like, well, if if a third party was introduced into his current relationship and he noticed that she started spending more time with the third party, he would get jealous. And so what I would expect would happen if jealousy would arise in that situation, then there's no reason for Logan to leave that polyamorous relationship and then go find another like single female that he can be in a one-on-one relationship again, and then now you've just turned one polyamorous relationship into two monoamorous relationships. So now we're back to the beginning. Like now we're back to scenario number one again, where it's just monoamorous relationship, I guess. I guess what I'm trying to get at is like we will naturally tend towards a monoamorous relationship even during polyamorous situations.
Because it always like splits.
Yeah, and that's because I don't think...
Okay. I'm imagining like
I don't think it's possible for one person to love two people equally, or for three people in a party to all love each other equally. There's always going to be like leaning one way or the other.
Yeah. I see what you're saying, though. I think is like it's going to self-fulfill, that it will just become another two-way relationship. Like it's just like it's kind of destined to happen.
Yeah.
If like, yeah.
And that's just my theory too. Like I have, but did you have anything else to say, Logan? Before I start talking,
I don't think so. I was just kind of leading into you, like with the question. Like I want to see, your whole perspective, but also with that question of, is it morally wrong? Can you argue that it is morally wrong?
So one thing I was thinking, I really liked. First off, I'll start off this way, and I'll get back to that question. But let me get these thoughts off first, and I'll return to the question. But one thing I really liked what you said, Logan, when you started talking about like, well, that's not the way it's meant to be, and then you stopped yourself. You're like, wait. Well, I guess you can't really say it's meant to be this way. You could like, because it's all based off belief. Like if you believe that it's meant to be that way, then more power to you for having a monoamorous relationship. But if you don't think it's meant to be anyway, it's just that's just the way things are, and you just do whatever works for you, kind of thing. Then if it's okay with you, then you could have a polyamorous relationship, and because that's kind of where this whole discussion revolves around. Is like it all depends on whether or not you believe relationships are meant to be a certain way, or if there's like meaning like in a relationship to accomplish something, or if being successful in a relationship adds meaning to anything or adds meaning to your life. And then when you hit that philosophical barricade, you eventually hit the point of like, well, what's the point of being in a relationship anyway? Like, why not just be single your whole life? And like, if I were to ask why not just be single your whole life, people are gonna respond, well, because relationships make me happy. Loving someone else makes you happy. Well, then my rebuttal for that is, then why are you asking for a polyamorous relationship 10 seconds ago? So obviously, like a relationship doesn't make you happy if like you're seeking out other people because one person isn't satisfying you. And then why would a second person satisfy you anymore? Like eventually you're going to hit a spot where you're going to be seeking out a third person in your polyamorous relationship. And then once you get tired of person number 3, you're going to seek person number 4. And like, well, I because I think we could all agree humans aren't perfect. So how could we expect to be satisfied by an imperfect being?
Yeah.
Well, you're kind of arguing my point now.
Well, my point is, why be in a polyamorous relationship? Why be in any relationship at all?
Well, I don't think it's always to love a person. Because that's what I think that was kind of your... No, I think that's like one of the main ones, but I don't think that's everybody. I don't think everybody's going to say that's their reason for doing it.
Doing what? Being in a relationship?
For being in a relationship, yeah.
What are people's reasons for being in a relationship?
Well, there's this thing called the birds and the bees.
Because if it's just sex, then yeah, why? Then even then,
no, okay. Well, that's generalizing. I don't know. I can't really say, but I'm sure. I feel like you'd ask people and they'd give you some interesting answers. I'm not saying. Well, let me just kind of clear up what I'm saying. I think I'm saying you can still love a person. You could pick one person, be married to them or committed to them, but you could just find other people who are going to like fill the gaps that they don't have, that they're not satisfying. And they might be temporary, but the constant is this one person.
Then my question becomes, is finding other people to fill those gaps for you being loving to that other person, to person number one?
I don't think finding those people are, but you can still give love to that one person. I'm saying the act of, spending time with those person B's, C's, and D's, that itself is not expressing love to person A,
Correct.
But you can still express love to person A individually, independently. So it's not, what I'm kind of taking out of your thing is that you're only giving it to one person. You're still giving it to one person, you're still giving it to A, but it's also being spread out to other people. But if you look at from A's point of view, they're getting love from you, and I think that's enough for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. But anyway, back to what I was saying.
Okay, yeah. Good.
I really liked. So now I'm kind of taking it back to where when Logan was saying like whether it's like meant to be one way or not. Mm-hmm. If you shoot, I had a really good way of wording this, and now I can't remember.
My bad.
No. I don't think it's anyone's fault except mine for forgetting. But I was gonna say something about how by not adhering to a set of beliefs, then nothing matters, and not just to relationships. But for example, because I adhere to biblical doctrine and I'm a believer in God and Jesus and call myself a Christian, obviously because of that I believe in solely male female monogamous monoamorous relationships, but not everyone agrees with me. Mm-hmm. And so if you don't believe that it's like meant to be a man and a woman married for life and be fully committed to each other, then yeah, you cannot make a moral argument against polyamory, because morality comes from, I believe morality comes from God. And so if you take God out of the equation, if you don't believe in God, like God was the first person to say that killing someone is immoral.
Okay.
So if you don't believe in God, then why is it like you cannot make an argument to me that it is immoral for me to kill you? Because the morality of like killing someone being a bad thing, or sin in this case, is that it doesn't rest on anything. It has no basis. It has no foundation. Because I believe the foundation for morality comes from God. And so if you take away God, you take away a foundation for morality. So who's to say that it's wrong for me to kill you? And then you have people who say like, well, like it's like evolutionary speaking, it's not beneficial like to kill someone else because of like the social tensions it creates, and like I've actually asked this question to an atheist one time, and they gave me some BS answer.
Oh my god!
But my point is, you can't argue over the morality of polyamory, or in general, you can't argue the morality of anything if there is no foundation for that morality, and your foundation for morality comes from belief. Sure. I choose to believe the God in the Bible. I choose to believe that Jesus Christ came and died for my sins. Like I choose that belief. I choose to believe that the Bible is God's word, and that everything in it is absolutely positively true. Like and I could give you like all the scientific evidence, all the archaeological evidence, and even like biological and physical, cosmological evidence as to why I believe that. But I cannot prove to you, like I can't prove to you that morality even exists, yet alone that polyamory is immoral. And so for those reasons, like you can't make a moral claim on anything, polyamory included, because morality, the foundation for our morality, or the foundation of morality, stems from belief.
All right. I would say I would agree with you up until, well, where you say that there has to be some foundation. But I think even if you were to take God out of it, Jesus, you don't have, like, that's not the only foundation. There are others, I'm sure. You were saying that was kind of the only one, but I think there are others. And then one thing is, like, I don't know if those are even, like, true premises. Because, I mean, you look at, I don't know, you ask, like, what, Muslims? They'll tell you that killing people is moral, right? I think. I don't know if sorry for any Muslim listeners, but not Muslims. What is it? That was going to get me. That's going to get me in Twitter or whatever. Islamic
10 years from now, when you run for president, you're gonna get bashed for this one sentence you said.
It's not even. I'm not even trying to like insult anybody. This is just how little I know about religion. But Islamic, I think it's called extreme Islamic extremists, I think is what you're supposed to say, right? That's the ones that I think you'll ask them. They're saying their foundation will include something like killing people, or at least causing pain to people is moral. So,
well, killing infidels, which is anyone who goes against God or their God, Allah, like anyone, they believe that anyone who goes against Allah is an infidel.
Do you agree with that?
And they believe that it's okay to kill an infidel.
And do you believe that?
Well, no, I don't believe it, but I still believe that the foundation for morality stems from a belief. So this, like, you're kind of backing up my claim. Like, I don't believe that because that's not what I believe. But the foundation for their morality of saying that killing someone is okay comes from their beliefs. The Quran, like it's found in the Quran.
So then, it's like weird. It's just that like I don't feel comfortable accepting your foundation because it seems like you're also challenging their foundation. So.
Right. Well, you believe in a different foundation for morality, just like Muslims believe in a different foundation for morality.
Exactly. So I think we need to find one that we can establish foundation that we can both feel comfortable arguing around.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like you can't if we believe different things. Like, do you remember that conversation I once had with you where you could argue with someone and then keep asking them why, and then why, and then why, and then they're going to give you an answer, and then you ask why, and then they give you an answer, and then you ask why.
Sure.
If you ask why a long enough amount of times, eventually they're going to reach a spot where their answer is going to be, well, that's just what I believe.
Okay.
And so the foundation of everything we do, all our actions, all the decisions we make, all comes down to what we believe in. It doesn't matter how much scientific, cosmological, archaeological, biological, physical evidence for anything there is, because if you read like Lose or Think or Sway, like they kind of talk about this a lot, but just the fact that humans are really, really illogical. No matter how logical we try to trick ourselves into thinking that we are more illogical than we could possibly fathom. And even though we like to think we make decisions based off of logical reasoning, a lot of our decisions are more based on very, very illogical, emotional assumptions. And it all comes down to what we believe in.
All right.
So kind of back to what I was saying, like killing someone is truly only wrong if you believe in the Bible. Like if you don't believe that the Bible is true, like why would it be morally wrong if I kill someone? It might be like socially looked down upon. It might be like, it might not benefit anyone. It might not benefit me. It might not, obviously it's not going to be beneficial to the person that gets killed. But who are you to say that it is immoral for me to kill someone? Like, what if it makes me happy? Like, what if I derive joy from killing that person? And your outlook on like life is like a more hedonistic approach where you believe that anything I do in life should be done to make me happy. Like, what if my excuse is like, I'm just pursuing happiness and killing this person brings me a lot of joy? Like, who are you to say that it's immoral of me to kill that person?
Oh, I see. Yeah. No,
You can't, right? Like, would you, like, I could be wrong. It doesn't matter if I'm right or wrong, but I think we could both agree of, like, you can't make that argument.
Yeah, because you look at their premise or their premises, and then that explains everything that you say.
Right.
Or that justifies everything you say. Yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree with that.
And so it's that same reasoning which is why I say, like, if you don't believe, if you don't believe monogamy or monoamorous relationships are the way things are, quote unquote, meant to be, like, I do believe that. I believe that that's the way things are meant to be. I believe that that was God's original design for relationships. But you may not believe that, and I would say a huge significant portion of the population doesn't believe that. So I can't say, like, I can't reason with them and argue that it's immoral, that polyamorous relationships are immoral, if they don't find their foundation of morality within that belief system. And, like, right, whether you believe that's okay or not is, like, I have no commentary on that, but I can say there's no reason for me to make a claim that it's immoral if we don't stem our beliefs or stem our foundation of morality in the same belief.
Yeah. Here's the thing. If everybody's just like, I believe this because of my beliefs, or because of my, I keep saying premise, it's just to say foundation, but if everybody keeps going back to that, then it's just like you're arguing in circles, and that's no fun. And that was why, like, I think last podcast, we were trying to talk about something. I don't remember what it was, but I was having a similar thing. So I don't really, like, I agree with you on that everybody's beliefs are built on a foundation. But for the, like, sake of argument, I think we just have to, even if it's not what you wanted, I think we still have to just come to a common consensus, come to a common foundation, just to make progress on an argument, you know?
Well, I believe that there are arguments out there where you can't find common ground. Like, eventually there's going to be arguments.
You probably can't. Like, at least can you get somewhere, though? Like, just like a very, like, stapled together common ground that's, like, half finished, but it's at least common ground.
I mean, maybe. I believe that it's, like, possible, but I also believe it's very possible for two people to be in an argument and have such opposing belief systems that it's impossible for them to find common ground. Like, I believe both outcomes are possible.
Well, I think that's wasteful argument.
Right, and I will definitely agree with that.
Okay. Well, how about this? Why don't our common ground for this polyamory thing is what you can observe in women or in relationships, real relationships. Is that common enough? Or is that a fair foundation?
Like the common ground that we witness or we observe, or
for defining, like, morality. Even just I don't know, we could even just go off of our experiences, but I think it might be better to not limit it to our experiences.
Well, the thing is, I don't believe morality exists unless you adhere to like biblical doctrine.
So basically, you don't believe in
fine. How
objective
about
morality?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I do believe in objective morality, but I'm saying you can't say there's objective morality if you don't believe in obtaining that morality from some higher power.
Okay. Yeah.
Because if you're not obtaining morality from a higher power, then you're basically saying humans are the ones who create morality. And if humans create morality, if man makes morality, why can't I just say killing people is okay?
Well, and there are like checks and balances even within humans. Like people feel pain and people don't like pain. I feel like that's enough of a reason to say let's not say killing each other.
Not everyone feels pain, and there are people that do enjoy pain.
Well, I'm saying like the typical person. And yeah, that is kind of generalizing, but would you say like most people have working nerves and working pain receptors?
Oh yeah, I would say most people do.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Is like we could kind of come up with an idea of, like agreed upon morality and agreed upon whatever by most people, which is dangerous sometimes, but I think it's better than, not better than, but it works.
Well, yeah, we can come up with it on our own, but where does our sense of morality come from?
The agreed upon, it's not objective, but it's something to just get. Because look, we've been talking about premises and foundations for like 20 minutes, making no progress on the original question.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Is like if you just pick a thing and argue it and use that as foundation, then you make progress. That's kind of me right now, as I'm trying to make progress on a conversation.
Okay.
On an idea. You get what I'm saying?
But is progress in the wrong direction progress?
Yeah. In this case, yeah. Well, not all the time, but I mean, I guess we're just kind of here to just entertain ideas. And to me, that's progress. Yeah.
Okay. Basically, to progress the conversation in some direction rather than going in circles.
Yeah. What do you think, Logan? You've been awfully quiet.
What are your thoughts? Okay.
Well, right now my thought is like I think it's kind of reminding me of like this podcast between Jordan Peterson and Sam Harris, where like the podcast, like Sam had Jordan on, and it was like one of the first times they had spoken, and they just got like right off the bat they could not speak to each other because they would not agree on what truth means or something. And so like the whole like hour or 2 hour long thing was just like disagreeing on like what truth means and going back and forth. It was kind of funny. I think it's like that same thing that you're kind of talking about, Andy, where it's like you kind of need some common ground. You need to establish like a foundational concept to build some like logical things upon, right? Like logical steps and like in a conversation. But yeah, aside from that, in this conversation, I think, I'm a little lost in terms of like where we are with the polyamory.
Oh, yeah. We'll get back to that.
Yeah.
I think this is why I didn't want to bring morality into it, because that's a can of worms.
Right.
That's true.
And I agree with you on that. Like morality doesn't have to be part of the discussion.
Yeah.
I'm just that everything I've said is my response to Logan's question. Is there like a moral I forgot what Logan said, but like, is there a moral?
Yeah, I had said I cannot tell you. I cannot argue that it is immoral to pursue a polyamorous relationship. All I can do is argue that it is not for me personally. And then I handed it off to you. Like, can you? And then so then that's where you added all that.
And I agree. I'm saying I agree with Logan. I can't give you a moral argument
unless it's built around a foundation.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I can't. There is no argument that I could give that can prove that polyamory is immoral.
Yeah. Well, Logan, so you said you can't give
that doesn't mean I believe, like, I still believe that polyamory is wrong, 100%.
Okay.
And what were you saying, Andy?
So you're saying you can't give an argument, like you can't come up with like a formal argument right now, but you have some sense of why it's wrong. You just haven't like refined it. Is that correct?
What I meant was not. Let's see. I guess I do. I have some sense that it is wrong. But yeah, I just cannot back it with any kind of objective evidence or anything like that. It is just kind of
I think
resonates negatively in my whole being.
Oh, okay.
That's such a good way to. It's a very interesting way to say that sentence, but I agree with it wholeheartedly.
Well, but you do have because you're having those feelings, you must have some sort of moral foundation or moral frame which causes you to feel that way. Could you maybe explore that for us?
Okay. Well, it just goes back to like, I take relationships like very seriously, and I commit to my partner, and I hope that she commits to me. And I've only ever wanted and I just looked it up. It's okay to say monogamous even when it's not a marriage. So,
okay.
I've always only ever wanted a monogamous relationship. I've never even wanted anything else. So just in that like framework right there, going out of that seems immoral to me. Just only on the most personal level, it just seems immoral to me to like breach that contract, because I feel like that's just what my partner is expecting and it's what I'm expecting. And if we try to get something else, I feel like it has to do with like what Adam mentioned earlier, just like hedonism. It's like we're just going after what we want. And it kind of, I think about my last partner who I just feel like may have wanted that at one point, and just it's kind of about like, it's like I want only these things, like I only want what I want. I'm not going to try to make like a compromise. And I think there's always some compromise that's inevitably made, like and in that example it would be on my behalf to compromise my desire to have a monogamous relationship. I mean, really, why do I have this like belief? That's a good, like, I don't actually know. I think it's just from being raised, or maybe from having some inherent preference toward it. And it's like, where did that even come from? I don't know. Like, yeah, that's just really what I personally believe. Like, I couldn't do it. And I don't really see how other people do it. And I do kind of see other people try that at times, and there's usually somebody who is not satisfied. And I'm not going to tell you that it's impossible for people to do that correctly or like enjoy it, but I just kind of generally sense that there's usually someone compromising and usually someone who doesn't actually like want to do it, but they might just be kind of settling because they don't want to lose their partner. So it's like, sure, we'll just throw another person in the bunch. It'll be fine. But I think it's a problem.
Get another player on the team.
Yeah, another player on the team. Welcome to the team.
Okay. Yeah, you're the goalie.
Yeah.
Whatever they put the new kids on.
And I also want to say that I guess love is such a complicated thing as well that I still don't understand. And I've been in a few relationships and I'm always like learning, and like it kind of goes to the more that I learn, the more I don't understand. And I just think it would be kind of infinitely just impossible for me to try to, add another member to the team and try to think that it's going to work out okay.
All right. That's fair. It's, like I said, it's not what you're used to.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like, what do you think would happen if you actually did this? Like, can you kind of play a thought experiment in your mind about any problem?
Yeah, you know what? Well, I could get back to that, but I wanted to ask you guys a question.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, and I'll answer because it's kind of similar. But okay, so say, for the sake of argument, it's you that wants a polyamorous relationship.
Yeah.
And you guys are actually in a relationship now, so maybe you can kind of imagine. That might be kind of risky, but let's just say you wanted it and your partner doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
How do you go about doing that?
Personally, let's say I wanted it.
Yeah, you wanted it.
I think it would just be a simple answer of like, well, I guess to me it is morally wrong, and I'd have to ask myself, like, why do I want this? And I feel like
let's say you knew 100% you wanted it.
Yeah.
Like whatever you guys think of your girlfriends.
Yeah.
And think of someone who's, oh man, it's bad because I actually know both of your girlfriends. But say you met someone who's like 10 times better than them in all ways, and you want to do polyamory with those two.
Okay.
But your partner is like, no, I'm monogamous. I don't believe that. Then what do you say?
I don't know.
If you don't want to answer, that's fine, because this is a thin ice here.
Oh, I see. That's funny. I'm thinking that I would have to really consider with myself, like, what do I really want? I don't think that, like, if there was that person that came along that was somehow hypothetically better, then it might be, what that might actually mean is that I want to be with them instead. Like, currently that's not the case. And currently I'm like committed to my partner, and I always want to like grow with them and all that. But I feel like this situation, it wouldn't be natural to me to like want to just say like, yeah, let's add her because I like her 10 times more than you. And now we get this girl who I like 10 times more than you and you. That's like 11 times. So that's like awesome. Like, I don't know. It just sounds very unrealistic, and I don't know. I think in the end, I would ultimately be deciding between two people to have a monogamous relationship.
Okay. Well, let me let's change it.
So I was gonna say the last sentence that Logan said would have been the closest to what I would have said of it's such a hard question to put myself in the shoes of, because I know how, one, I understand how imperfect human beings are, and that no matter who I find, I'm never going to be satisfied, because only Jesus Christ can do that. I'm never going to feel fully and truly 100% loved by any human being on this earth. And so anyone that I do find that I choose to love is just going to be a choice that I make every day to love that person to the best of my ability, because I believe that that's what I was designed for, and that being in a relationship where I can love that person to the best of my ability and honor that person, I am glorifying God in the process of doing that. And so it's like, because I understand that like there isn't going to be any human that satisfies me on earth. It's hard for me to put myself in that shoes, because I'm not like, why would I want to add another imperfect human being, I guess. And so if I really, really, really had to put myself in that shoes, in my shoes, or in those shoes, sorry, it wouldn't be a question of like adding this third person to our already existing relationship. It'd be a matter of like, do I choose this person, or do I stay with the person I'm already with?
All right, I gotta change it because this is too easy of a challenge. The 10xer, or the 10 times better person,
Yeah,
they don't want a relationship. They only want, but they're willing to do polyamory. So you don't have to leave the first one. You know what I mean?
yeah. Okay.
Is it really a question? Okay, well, does that change your answers?
No.
Oh, okay.
If they don't want a relationship, then I have no business with that person.
No, but they want... No, but I'm saying, for the sake of argument, you want polyamory.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I know it's hard for you guys, but...
All right, sure. I'll go with your thing and say I want polyamory, which is hard to imagine, but sure. Like, let's say I do want it, and there's this girl that's 10 times better than my current girlfriend, and my girlfriend. Sure, why not? Because Logan wants polyamory, and this.
So you wouldn't compromise even for your current partner.
Okay, let's see. So wait, sorry, but the last part of that is that my current partner does not want polyamory.
That's a thing that needs to be said.
Yeah. Okay, so if that's the case, I want it. This person.
Oh, you're saying for the scenario?
Yeah, for the scenario.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes, that's right. I thought. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, she does not want it. So therefore, I think sure I'll just kind of flip the coin or whatever. I'll just go with it. Why not?
Roll the dice.
Yeah, roll the dice. That's the one. That's like the craziest dice roll too. It's just so chaotic in every way. But yeah.
It doesn't have to be as random as that. I mean, you could talk to your partner, the 1xer, and like, it's fair to say I would, like, an answer could be I would talk to them. The kind of three answers I'm thinking are you say, no, I'm not going to do it because, no, I'm not going to do it because I'm not going to compromise for my current partner. The other one is, yes, I'm going to do it because that's what I want and that's what I can have, so I'm going to do it. But then, like, the third one is you find some kind of middle ground with your partner. Like, you're allowed to talk to them about it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
That
makes sense? Yeah, multiple choice. You get 3 choices.
Okay. Well, yeah, I would try to find a middle ground, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about you, Adam?
Well, I feel like in this scenario, the outcome is everyone loses. Like I've ruined. Like if I act in the scenario in which, for whatever reason, that we'll entertain anyway, that I want a polyamorous relationship. If I act on those feelings, I will have ruined both relationships because I lose person number one who doesn't want a polyamorous relationship, and now I end a relationship with someone 10 times better, but who doesn't even want a relationship with me in the first place. And so we all lose.
Oh, it's like a home wrecker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like game over. No one gets what they want.
Well, yeah, that I could see that being an outcome. That is assuming that, the 1Xer, you know what I mean when I say 1Xer?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The 1Xer doesn't won't. That's kind of assuming they're not invested in you, that they're not going to try to stick around. Like, I guess you don't. I mean, that could be a thing too, is like, how much are they committed to you that they're willing to compensate for you? You know what I mean? Like, we kind of assume they're just gonna not like it. Even though I did say they don't want it, but I think you also got to think, like, some people don't know that they don't want it. And that's why there was that middle option of you can compensate. You could try to find some common ground.
Oh.
Which is why I liked that Logan was open to that,
Yeah.
But anyway, I just wanted to pose that question because it seemed like we were all saying, what if I don't want polyamory, but my partner does? Or if they act polyamorously, but I think, like, if you switch it around where you want it and they don't, it kind of shows some things about how does it feel to be, I guess, held back in a way. But I don't know.
I think it's a good thing to ask, for sure. And I guess ultimately, though, it is actually very hard for me to empathize, and maybe that's a problem. Like, I can't empathize with that. Like, I guess through this thought experiment, you kind of caused me to realize it's hard for me to actually empathize with that person, and it's probably because my beliefs are just so strong.
Oh yeah.
Because it is easier for me to think about what if they want it and I don't. But yeah, thinking about me wanting it and them not, I just feel like it's such a wrong thing, or an immature thing. Like, I want to have everything. I want to have my cake and eat it too. And it just seems so wrong to me that it's hard for me to actually empathize and put myself in that position. But yeah, I think I kind of agree with what Adam said too, is you're gonna end up losing the one that was willing to be with you and who loved you, and to try to go for someone 10 times better, and then you lose. I would say maybe you're losing some part of yourself and some part of that 10 times better person as well, because they're probably not going to be with you exclusively once your first person leaves you. And I feel like it's kind of some kind of betrayal to that first person, because they did agree to be with you exclusively.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And they don't want to budge on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, okay. I keep changing it, sorry. But yeah, I think next time I post this thing, I'm going to say they don't want it, but they actually won't break up with you if you decide to go with it.
I see. Yeah.
So you don't lose, you don't risk. It's just now something they're like, oh, I kind of don't like that you do this, but it's not enough to make them leave.
Yeah.
At first, and then, you don't know how it's going to turn out in a couple months.
Yeah. I think that's a good like conversation, because it's just like, why is it so hard for me to like conceive of that, or like why does it seem so morally wrong? Because it really does, but it's like, yeah, it's hard to know.
Okay. Here's the thing. I've been kind of, yeah, it's like a long whatever, but
wait, you still have to answer your question, Andy.
Oh yeah. So if this is with the question of if I want it, they don't, right?
No. The question Logan asked you earlier.
Okay, what was his?
Was
thing?
That when I just asked, like, if you run this thought experiment in your life, how do you like react? Is that what I said, Adam? Like that kind of question?
I think no. You asked something like, "Dang it!" See, this is why we have to answer.
Oh,
we either have to write the questions down.
Or well, I was pretty sure
to answer them before we move on.
I basically
Logan asked a question on like, it was right after we had left the morality debate thing, and then Logan had asked a question
okay,
like what in your personal experiences? Oh no, Logan asked, like in your life, how would you react if this happened? Or I can't.
Yeah, it was basically that.
Oh, you want to go with that?
I was trying to basically get Andy's like personal take on like if you're in a relationship, or if you think back to a relationship you were in, and then like this became a real possibility, how would you what would you make of it?
Okay. Yeah, so I'll be honest. And I could actually, because I've had thoughts about this too, but thinking about like partners that I've been with and knowing that they are with other people or could be with other people, that like really hurts, and that just breaks my heart. And it's not a feeling that I think you guys know, like it hurts.
Yeah.
Something about it hurts.
Exactly.
But I don't actually know why that hurts, and I think that those feelings, I'm challenging the reasons for those feelings, because I think those are grounded in beliefs of like monogamy. But I actually believe that polyamory, this stuff I've read about polyamory and kind of just my own thoughts, I believe that works more, that I would put my faith in that working for me personally more than monogamy.
Yeah,
monogamy. Yeah, okay, monogamy. Oh yeah, that's monogamy. Yeah. Did that answer your question though?
I think so. Well, kind of. So like,
okay.
It seems that you have kind of concluded that it might be best for you, but I just don't understand how is that compatible with this idea that, like you and I both know when someone you really love ends up kind of with another person, how it makes us feel like horrible. And I know that's like an emotion. It's like a very real emotion, but so like, if you really were in a polyamorous relationship, like how would you feel when the person you love like ends up spending like really high quality time with that third person? Like, I just feel like, wouldn't you feel the same way?
Well, okay. I guess there are kind of two questions in that, right?
I guess so.
The first one being, how did I feel in the past? And then how will I... Oh man, I lost it. I thought there was a second part in your question.
Well, it's basically based on how you felt in the past.
Okay.
Couldn't you conclude you'd feel the same way?
That was what it is.
Yeah.
No, because I think what is different, you have to change the way you think. You have to change your mindset. And just changing your mindset is going to make it so that you're not going to have the same reaction the next time it happens to you.
Okay.
If it happens to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, making sense? Okay.
I think so.
Okay. And in the past, I think I did have the wrong mindset. I don't know about right or wrong mindsets, but it was one that caused me to feel things that I don't want to feel. So that's what I think has to happen, is you just change your mindset. And I feel like you would still have those feelings run through your head, but I do think you can control them better.
Okay, and so let me say, do you think the mindset could be kind of equated to expectation? It's like your expectation when going into a relationship. If your expectation is not exclusivity, then you might be able to like enjoy a polyamorous relationship.
I think it helps, but I'm not saying I'm not arguing that's where it happens.
Okay.
Expectations of them, of what they can do and what they can't do.
Sure, yeah, like or just expectations of this like relationship.
Of the Yeah, I feel like expectations is pretty general. It's pretty broad, so I'd have to agree with that.
Okay.
I think it comes from you, and I mean like you as opposed to you and your partner.
Okay.
Like as a unit. It's really just comes down to you.
Yeah, because what I'm saying is like I go into a relationship and I expect that like for the duration of this relationship, we are going to be exclusive to each other. And I think I also make that clear, though, at the beginning of a relationship with that
Okay.
I've had, is just like, yeah, this is kind of my thing. Like I am yours and you are mine for the duration of this. But yeah, like if your expectations are more like, I want to be with you and not necessarily only you, but I'm okay with, I'm happy as long as I'm with you. Is that basically what your mindset would be going into a polyamorous, or just being open to it?
Oh man, maybe. I can't say I have. I'm still like formulating my expectations and how this is going to work in practice. So I wouldn't say that's the case.
Yeah.
But this will be kind of my like raw answer, and I'll probably need to change it. I don't think it's going to matter. I don't think anyone's going to hold me to this. But I think I kind of see relationships like this. So, and this is very extreme, and I'm still going to work on it. But I'm going to do my own thing. If you want to cheat, whatever, then you do that. But I don't. That's not going to affect me. As long as, well, let's see. It's not going to affect me because right now that's not enough to get under my skin, I guess.
Yeah.
So with that kind of thing, like that's how I would deal with polyamory, is like, I'm not going to give you power by cheating. So if you cheat, then that doesn't do anything to me. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. Yeah.
So if you do that, then yeah, anything they do is not, you just have to kind of, I don't know. There, I'll stop talking there.
That makes sense. And it just, it kind of makes me think about, personally, how I've been really hurt in the past. And I think I've said things like that, or I've thought things like that to myself, where it's like, as a result of my expectation, like, and now, I've expected so much of her, and now that she's like, kind of been unfaithful, like, my last relationship, it wasn't like the worst situation that could have happened, but there was a little bit of unfaithfulness that may have happened, and it really hurt me a lot. And I feel like it made me want to find a solution similar to like the solution that you're finding. Like the solution you're finding is like, well, if you can't like trust someone to like just be faithful, then maybe you should let go of that and just be like, well, yeah, like if you do that, it's not going to affect me because I'm not going to expect you to be faithful. And I feel like like maybe where you and I deviated, I'm not sure if this is true, but like it's maybe that I have resolved to choose somebody who I can really trust and choose to move on when I know I cannot trust them, because I personally do believe that trust is one of the most fundamentally important building blocks of a relationship. And if you're with someone that you can't trust, then you probably are better off to move on from them. In my opinion, I think trust is, I guess that's a whole other conversation of why is trust like one of the most important things, but
that's good. Let's get into that.
Yeah. Okay. But I just want to say,
okay. Yeah. All right.
To wrap this up, it's just, my thing is, I need to be with somebody that I can trust. If I cannot trust them, I probably shouldn't be with them, because that's where you get feelings like you have felt, where it's just this, like, it's possible to feel like a whole lot of pain. And I think that you might be compromising a little too much by suggesting that, like, you're open to them just going off and being with someone else if that was the case that needed to be. Whereas I would just suggest just choose someone who you can trust. But I might be implying too much there that I don't actually know.
Well, I think I don't think I mentioned trust in my answer, my response.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying you can't trust the person. You can't trust your partner. You can trust, and I think you have to. And what I'm saying is you have to trust them enough that whoever they go be polyamorous with, you have to trust that they'll come back to you, and you could give them the same love you would give them even if they were, exclusive with you. I know there's time now where it's like now less of their time is spent with you. But the thing is, I think you have to be selfless enough to let them do what they need to do, even if it means less time spent with you. But just because they're spending less time with you, that shouldn't hurt you, right?
Yeah.
Because that's something that doesn't bother you, so it doesn't matter that they're spending less time with you. Spending zero time with you, that's different, but
yeah,
that's what I mean, is like if you trust them enough and there's strong enough trust, then they'll come back to you and spend probably most of their time with you.
Yeah.
So that's kind of me trying to fix what I was saying about what you were saying about no trust.
Okay, yeah, I think that does kind of fix that, because it's like, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be like committed to you. And if you need to go experiment or whatever, I'm allowing that. So therefore, by allowing it, it's not going to hurt me, or I'm going to decide to not let it hurt me. And then I'll be here for like when you want to come back. Kind of like that.
Yeah. When you come home. Yeah.
And that's kind of also applicable to because a lot of this for me, my experience goes to my last relationship. So I have to kind of reach to that time in my life. But I remember her saying at one point, like, how do you know that you're with the right person when you can't even go try someone else, or like, but in trying somebody else, you have to let go of the person you're with. So then you already lost them to even try. I remember that was very hard for her, because I guess, I was definitely not open to these kind of ideas. And so it was hard for her to be like either stuck with me or have to leave me to see if there's a better possibility. So maybe if I had been open to this idea, then maybe she would have been able to go experiment, and then I would still be there for when she comes back. Not that I don't know if I would be okay with that, but it may have worked for her.
That's a really I've never thought about it that way before.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, here's a hard question.
All right.
Let me try to phrase it well. Well, I guess you kind of already said it, but yeah, that was a thought that I had was, is what I'm doing, like keeping this person, is that preventing them from having the most optimal relationship? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, do I really want, what do I want for them? Do I want them to have a suboptimal relationship, but have me be happy? Or should I risk letting them, or should I be selfless and let them have their suboptimal at the expense of me? I don't know. What do you guys ever have that thought, or?
Yeah.
Is that just the thing?
No, I think I have that thought, and I think that in my mind, I just say that we do have to like make sacrifices in a relationship.
Wait, ask your question again, Andy.
Well, I was just kind of saying things, but does it bother you? Would it bother you to know that your happiness, let's say you being in a happy relationship, means for the other person that they have a suboptimal relationship?
Ooh. I think the answer is yes, but I don't have a reason why yet.
That's something that
if the question is, would it bother me that in order for me to be happy, the person I'm in a relationship with needs to be like not like less than optimal happiness? That would bother me? Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that would definitely bother me because I would want the person that I'm with to be just as happy about the relationship.
Yeah, that would be the...
But I'm also like, if I were to discover that person is not the optimal amount of happy that I am in a relationship, like I'd be willing to go to lengths to find out why and like see if I can
there you go.
Like change that, but I wouldn't. The answer for me wouldn't be polyamory.
Oh no, I'm not saying. I'm just saying. I just wanted to know if you guys have that thought. It's kind of like a thought of what's it called? I don't know the word. Whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if my partner wasn't happy with our relationship, one, I would want to know, and then two, I would want to know what to do to change that.
Well, like if it's something that you can't, like you're not, let's say the concept of soulmates was true. Like if you found out you're not their soulmate, but you're preventing them from finding their soulmate. That's what I'm kind of saying is like, does it bother you? And would you be sneaky and be like, oh, I know that I'm not their soulmate, but I'm going to stick with it because I like this. I'm happy with this.
Oh man, that's a good question. Oh man, that's a really tough question because, like, in theory, I know that the correct response is like the right answer is I should break up with them so they can go.
Yeah.
Like if I really love them, I should break up with them to let them find their real soulmate.
Yeah.
That should be the right answer in theory. But in real life, I honestly don't know.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't think you're going to have to... Yeah, I don't think that's ever going to happen because, like, who knows their soulmate?
Right.
But So luckily you won't have to.
Yeah.
Oh, did you just get an app idea?
No.
I did.
I was gonna say that's such a random. Did you just get an app idea? I'm like, no.
Well, you made a noise like, "Ooh, I wonder if we can make a soulmate."
Well,
like you wouldn't actually. You would say we use whatever machine learning AI to figure out your soulmate.
Well,
it's just a random thing.
I was thinking about the movie. Have you ever seen the movie Dan in Real Life?
Oh, I did, but I don't remember. I only remember the dance scene that they did.
Okay. It's that situation where they do know their soulmate.
Really?
But they're in a relationship kind of thing. Like, so Steve Carell meets this girl. It's not exactly the same scenario that you just said, but it's similar from a different point of view. So Steve Carell meets this woman at a library, and they just instantly connect. And he like knows deep down like this is his soulmate. And the more he gets to know this person, the more he realizes that this is the one for him. And then he finds out that she's already in a relationship. And to make it even juicier, she's already in a relationship with his younger brother.
Oh, what?
And so your question is, you have to put yourself in the shoes of the younger brother who's already dating the girl. Her name is Marie. And ask yourself, like, I love Marie so much. Do I like stay with her, or do I let her go so she could be with Dan, who is obvious like they're soulmates? Well, for the movie, for the sake of the movie, they're soulmates.
Okay.
He does. Well, not out of choice, because Marie and Dan continue to fall in love anyway, and then the little brother finds out, and he leaves and ends up dating this other girl who turns out to be like perfect for him. So it all works out in the end.
Is it Emily Blunt's character?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You have seen the movie.
I'm looking at the cast.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so that's a tough question, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like, are you willing, the question you're asking is, are you willing to love someone enough to let them go so someone else could love them better?
Right. And this isn't quite... Oh, what are you going to say?
I was going to say, I want to be able to say yes. I don't know what the actual answer is, but...
That's it, yeah. And what I was saying, like, I don't think you're ever going to have to make that choice in real life. Luckily, which is like a kind of a, what do they call it? Whatever. I can't think of words right now, but if that's a thing that people, like, say there was an app that actually tells you your soulmate, and it'll tell you who's not your soulmate, then you would be forced to make decisions like that. But until we have that, you're in luck. So lucky you.
Wow. Yeah, you should get on that, Andy, the soulmate app.
Yeah, I would do it and just randomize everything. Like, there's no reason for anyone being soulmates of each other's.
So it's all arbitrary?
Random. Yeah, and then people will start. It'll be like placebo, probably, eventually. But it doesn't matter to me.
Dang, that's a good idea. Like, somehow
no, that's not a good idea.
figure, like, just, you could probably make this app in a few, like, very quickly if you go, like, maybe you make it with the scope of, like, Facebook, and you just have it pick a random user.
Oh, yeah.
That has to be, like,
that's single.
Female.
Yeah,
single.
Oh, no, it doesn't even have to be. I would even do it like it doesn't even look at gender. So it would say your soulmate, you're destined to be bisexual, and
Oh wow.
Just troll people. Challenge people's their expectations of soulmates.
Yeah. Dang.
That was one thing were you gonna say something?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, there was a Black Mirror episode about that where they created a machine that would find your soulmate.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I gotta watch that show. I've heard a lot of interesting things about that show.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, did we wrap up this polyamory?
Yeah, that was a really interesting conversation. I don't think I have anything else to add.
All right. Again, I would not say I'm an expert, and I haven't like done any field research, so don't.
This conversation makes me want to go out and like interview real people who have been in either polygamy or polyamorous relationships, because they're obviously out there. They do exist, and I know they do exist. I don't know how successful they are, but I do know that they exist. And so after talking about it with you guys, it makes me want to go and do a comprehensive study of like actually seeking out people who've been in like people of all different backgrounds, all ethnicities. Like, I just want to interview as many people as I could about this concept and just see, like, through trial and error, like what they've found about this. And I want to see if does it make people happier for them, or do people end up more miserable? I don't know. Yeah, I would want to. Like, I'm curious now. You've opened up a new door of curiosity for me, Andy. Right. Now I want to go out and just interview.
Yeah. Okay.
Polyamorous practitioners.
Tell me your findings once you get them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think here. How about this? Could I say it's better because if your relationship knows how to do polyamory, then you already know how to do monogamy. You know what I mean? It's like a superset of monogamy. So you can come back to, like, you get best of both worlds.
Yeah, if you like figure out the skills that you need.
It's like this month is monogamy or monogamy.
Yeah. I would love to see a guy who lives his life like that. Yeah, I think I'm monogamous this month, and then next month I've actually got polyamory scheduled for November. That's going to be an interesting one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got a polyamory or February is my least favorite polyamory, like when it lands on the February.
Yeah.
Because you got Valentine's Day, so you got to pick one.
Oh, yeah.
You got to pick one. Oh, my gosh. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? But yeah, Adam, tell us your findings. We'll talk about it in a...
Dude, I don't even know where to start.
Well, I think you had a friend that... I won't say their name, but I think you told me you had a friend that might be into that. So, I don't know why I'm saying this. I can't, say their name. You probably don't know.
Yeah.
But you did... I think you did have a friend, is what I'm saying.
Wait, do you know the name of the person?
Yeah, I do know. Yeah.
Can you type it to me? So.
Okay.
That way, our listeners can't be a part of that.
They might try to hear the keys that I'm clicking, and then be like, "Oh, that was the distance of A and Y."
Oh, yeah.
Their name actually doesn't have A or Y in it.
Okay.
Oh wait, maybe it does. I don't even remember their name. I know them as a shape. I know what they look like.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
And an occasion. I know what. I'll tell you.
Wait, so you're not gonna type it into
I have to
our
think
chat?
I have to think about who it is. Oh my gosh, I always forget their name too.
Oh man.
You should know because I always forget their name, and you know that I forget their name. So, oh my gosh, wow.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
I'll just give you like a bunch of hints. Okay, does that help? Oh, oh my gosh, how did well, I'll type this. Did you get it?
I got the first two entries. I'm waiting. Oh.
Can you type her name in the...
Well, now you just gave away that. You just gave away the gender of this person to the listener.
I did, yeah.
At least the gender that they identify as.
Yeah, there you go.
They, them.
What?
Oh, yeah. I guess it was... In my head, I assumed female, yeah, so that's why I didn't try to filter that, but... Okay. Well, anyway, I think you told me they are into it. I'm just saying, like, when you're saying you're asking where to start. Oh, okay, never mind. No, okay. Then I got nothing.
Yeah. I don't know if I made some like social media account and then can't you isn't there like a social media thing where you could put like surveys?
Yeah, I think you can put surveys. Yeah, you can on Facebook.
Actually, that wouldn't work because people have the option of answering anonymously, and then I wouldn't have a way to contact them. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
You can go on Reddit, but I guess
I could start in the Mormon community.
Oh yeah.
I know there's like in Orthodox Mormonism, there's like polygamy is a huge thing.
Mormons, huh?
Mormons.
Can't live with them, can't live without them. Just kidding. Do they say that? Does anybody say that?
I don't know about Mormons, but people say that phrase.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, Mormons. I mean, you could probably say that about anybody, so.
That's true.
And it actually, like, it's a self-canceling phrase, so you could say it about anything, and it's the same as as before you said it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Can't live with, can't live without. So we're back to square one.
Yeah. It's like no harm, no foul.
Yeah.
But I didn't mean to target Mormons, sorry. Don't take away my Golden Globes permission.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah,
well, even if they did,
you're gonna be a really famous person 10 years from now, and they're all gonna bring up this podcast and be like, "Oh, this you can't trust this guy because of what he said back in 2020 on his podcast with his
with 10 listeners."
His podcast of 10 listeners with his 2 friends from high school.
Yeah. Well, good riddance. I don't want to do a award show. That doesn't sound fun.
I'm proud to call you my friend, Andy Jordan.
Thanks, Adam.
Well, as we wind down this conversation, that concludes our broadcast night.
All right. Well, that's a wrap for our show for tonight. Thank you for listening, and we hope to catch you next time. Have a great day.